I've been up here. But that's a really good basketball team that Coach Jack has. They're long and got some players over there. I thought we did a really good job, holding them down on the initial. But obviously the difference in the game is O boards, which they think they lead the league in O boards. So we kind of knew that coming in, but they willed themselves to find a way. So hats off to them. We'll take ourselves back to Clemson and regather ourselves. We have a bye week as we head into Duke next week. So questions?
Coach, you mentioned the offensive rebounding. Just what makes Syracuse so difficult to hold off the offensive glass?
Yeah, well, they got so many mismatches out there. We obviously cross-matched today with majority of the times we had a guard on Sophie. Thought we would still be able to box her out. She's not the best athlete out there, but she's obviously tough. And so I think again it was great when it came to the first shot, but then we didn't do our job on the second piece. But the reality is we were really in no help coverage off of her, so it should have been body to body. I just think that she's got a nose for the ball and knack. She's a winner, and she found a way to help them get a big win today.
Coach, she got 11 boards in the first half and then 5 in the second half. How did you try to adjust to try and keep her off the offensive glass after that first half?
You can only talk about it. There's not like a schematic deal, right? Like rebounding is about toughness, and I think it was frustrating. Even in the first half, she had got a couple early. One, she just took it from us. It wasn't even she got it, we got it, and she just ripped it from us and scored it. Was that we would leave the huddle talking about it. The very next possession, shot goes up, and we have no body on her, right? So it's a heck of a lot easier to rebound when you're free running, and if you got a nose for the basketball. So it's not strategic. It's really about a will and just doing your job. I just talked to my team. The unfortunate piece is today we lost on two things that you learn when you're in 10, is how to make a layup and how to box out. Right, and those were the two things that cost us a game, which would have been a huge one for us and our program headed towards March.
Coach, you got Uche Zoje into some foul trouble. Was that kind of a point of emphasis coming into today?
I mean, I thought that we could attack a little bit, not necessarily. I feel like for her, I didn't know if we could score an attacker one-on-one on the block. But I did think that we could attack and try to get her into help situations. She's obviously such a good shot blocker, and so how to take advantage in some of the help more than it was, throwing it to somebody on our roster to go one-on-one. But with that said, we actually boxed her out. Our bigs did our job, and so some of hers came on that end where it was over the back. I wish our guards would have done the same thing to get Sophie in some foul trouble. So that I'm not sure that was. I mean, it would have been nice. We did talk about it, but I think we don't really have the personnel to throw it in there and try to just go at her to get her in foul trouble as much as a lot of us was to get her off the ball and can we get her to come pull in to help. And I thought that would be an advantage, and it was. Again, we got a lot at the rim and or kick out threes, which. Again, we shoot almost 50% from the floor, and I bet you we missed 10 layups. So we got shots, and so I think that part was fine. It's just, again, back to your original question, it wasn't man-to-man, try to go at her, but can we go in a different way?
Coach, you guys scored 39 points from players off the bench. What does that say about the depth on your team?
It's kind of been a strength of us most of the year, honestly. We play a rotation of 8 or 9. We don't, the one thing that this group doesn't have, and Mia's kind of separated herself a little bit as of late, we don't really have any superstars. We just got 9 really solid players. And, that's a good thing to have because there's depth. It's a bad thing as a coach because sometimes you don't know where the ball needs to go. And each day is something different. I thought our bench was phenomenal today, gave us a huge lift, kept us in the game. A little disappointed with a handful of our starters that have been really solid for us that just did not have good days today. So we'll have to go back to the drawing board, but that's been a strength of ours most of the year, and it's going to have to continue as we have 3 really tough ones to finish.
Coach, you talked about, Mia's obviously been fantastic over the past couple games. Was off to a slow start today, ended up finishing with 17 points and kind of played a little more freely in the second half. Just what do you think was the biggest difference between the first and the second half?
I think that Canada, we really prepared for some of their hedging stuff, and then they went to more switching. And so, it was almost like, wait a second, there's supposed to be a hedge here and there's not, and so it kind of just stalled her out until we got a feel of what they were trying to do. And then I thought that they did a good job of kind of sticking with our shooters early in the game. I had to do a better job of creating some other movement to get her to some gaps. So I think it's a mixture of those two things. She's got to be aggressive start to finish, but some of it, again, they just kind of changed some coverage things that we thought would have been a plan B for them, not plan A.
What do you think Syracuse does well that could, make them a threat come March?
Well, they got some really good players. I mean, you got 2 elite guards for sure. I know that's when you got 2 really good ones, it makes you good there just from the start. And then obviously Burroughs finds a role playing the 3, sometimes the 4. You got a post player that when she's not in foul trouble, although a freshman, she's one of the best that we'll play against. And then they got a bunch of good role players, that just kind of play to their role. They give them some physicality. I think they can match with anybody in the sense of length and size. So you put all that together, it's why they're having a really good year. Candidly, it was a tough one coming in for matchup purposes for us. And then ultimately, and we did a good job of taking care of the ball. They usually turn you over and or rebound the basketball. Today, they did one of the 2 and still was able to win.
Coach, you mentioned Sophie's toughness and tenacity and how she was able to outwork your guards for rebounds. Was that something that you noticed the last time that you played Syracuse faced off Sophie specifically, or was that something that kind of surprised you heading into this?
No, she's always been tough. Her role's changed here this year compared to last, but it's been a lot of fun to watch her the last couple of years. She's just one of them kids. It's just tough, and obviously she can shoot the basketball, but it's all the other stuff. She may not wow you again with athleticism and all the other things, but she just is a winner. I'm sure that Coach Jack says the same thing about her. So a lot of what we saw today, we knew coming in. It just took a little bit more of a toughness to guard her than it was anything else.
Thank you, Coach.
Appreciate you guys.